During my time at university, I had a part-time job at a huge Bavarian building. The building had 8 floors in a quadratic shape, with a big lobby hall in the center of the building. It was actually hundreds of years old, but completely renovated. I worked once or twice a week, mainly on weekends. Now here's the interesting part. I worked in night shifts, and my job was basically to walk around the whole building twice a night. While walking through the hallways, I just had to watch out for stuff people forget when they rush into the weekend. Open doors, open windows, or light switches still turned on. Nothing out of the ordinary. The payment was also good. In fact, I was kind of surprised about how good the pay was, because obviously I didn't have much to do in those 8 hours. My girlfriend and other friends mentioned that the payment was just fair, as I had to walk around a huge building at night completely alone. They always mentioned how they would never do this, as the sinister feeling in buildings like these would play mind games with them. I never had problems with being alone, neither I was paranoid or believed in paranormal occurrences. Just studied throughout the night and did my 2 walks, until this one night in September 2018. The shift started like any other, got the keys from the senator and started studying. After my first walk through the building between 3:55 and 4:05 a.m., the whole electronic system throughout the building reset, which I found really odd at my first shift, but grew to ignore it after some months. The reset leads to light sources turning on and off throughout the whole building, systematically but still chaotic. I sat at the front desk, not even paying attention to it, when suddenly a certain noise reached me. One of the 2 elevator doors in the first floor opened itself, closed itself, and opened itself again. Malfunction, I thought. Going back to reading boring scientific papers, after 20 minutes it happened again, but this time the lights in the elevator switched off, which seemed really odd. At this point, I started feeling a little alarmed. When I moved into the elevator, the door behind me closed. I panicked and tried to get out of the elevator, but the elevator even started to take me to the 2nd floor, in complete darkness. When I reached the 2nd floor, the door opened and I basically fell off the elevator door, turning around while I fell. The sinister-looking, completely dark elevator closed again, and it took off to another floor. My heart was racing, and a part of me thought someone manipulated the console, but another part of me felt something else. Fear. I had goosebumps all over my body and returned to the front desk with the plan to text my supervisor and senator about the technical defects of the elevator. I did this with trembling hands when suddenly I heard another distant noise. Radio music from somewhere in the canteen. I slowly moved to the canteen with my smartphone light switched on. The noise came from the kitchen and I followed it. Reaching the kitchen, I saw that a radio was playing music on some of the tables. I froze and couldn't breathe. During my first walk, the senator texted me and told me to put the radio under a certain desk and switch it off, as the cooks would always store it there. I did this directly when I started the shift, even texting him, because I couldn't find the desk at first after plugging out the radio. I turned around and sprinted through the canteen and directly to an exit and waited outside for the last 2 hours. Luckily, I had the keys with me. When someone for the day shift came, when he arrived, I got into the building with him, took my bag, and left quickly. I called myself in sick for the next 2 weeks. After that, I quit my job using excuses regarding my sleep cycle. Till this day, I don't know what happened that night. So, to give some context, I'm a small-statured girl, like 5.1. I guess that makes me look easily preyed on. I don't know. One night around 9:30, I realized I had no more pads and needed to get some. Walgreens closed at 10, but wasn't far, so I headed there. The Walgreens I headed to wasn't in the best area. It was one of those neighborhoods that wasn't too safe, but surrounded by safe neighborhoods, so it wasn't terrible either. I parked my car directly behind the door so I could see it from the entrance. There's a spot in front of me that are closer to the doors, but are in the darkness. I would rather walk a little further than be hidden in the darkness. I was the only car in the parking lot. I'm on FaceTime with a friend. I started to walk towards the doors and realized my car may still be on, so I turn around to go check and it's not on. As I lock my car door and start walking away, a car comes pulling in super quick and I felt a little uneasy. I'm really paranoid by nature and I just hurry up and walk inside. As I go inside, my friend had to go. I make my way to the aisle and can't seem to find the pads at all. I'm in the adult diaper area and try to find the pads. I have that feeling that someone is following me. As I hear footsteps and just get weird, there's only me and the employee in the store, so maybe they think I'm stealing as it's about to close. This kind of pisses me off, but whatever, do your job. I keep looking for pads, and as I turn a corner, I notice whoever is following me keeps ducking off into an aisle. As I turn the next aisle, this person wasn't fast enough, and I see him. It wasn't an employee. It was a 5'4", 5'5" older man, maybe late 40s or 50s. He had frosted tips and looked like he was trying to look younger, but he looked like a sketchy guy instead. Awkward, I felt, but whatever. I always think my paranoia is overthinking. I get my pads and go to the register. I kid you not when I tell you, this man runs to the register and is empty-handed. If you've been to the store as long as me, 15 minutes, and you have nothing, that's weird. He grabs some soda from the register fridge. I check out and I walk into the side of the store by the coolers in the photo area. This way I can see the register in the door, but they can't see me. I call my boyfriend and tell him what happened and to come. This man takes forever to check out his 2 soda bottles, then he exits. I tell the employee what was going on. She looks outside and he parked on the driver's side of my car, and he drives a black older van model. She said that he was acting weird and antsy, and when I walked away, he asked where I went. She let me stay there until he left, which took 7 minutes. My boyfriend arrived shortly after he left. I told him the description of the car, and he told me as he pulled in, he saw that that car was circling the building a few times, then hiding in the darkness back parking lot. I haven't returned to that location since. So this is going to be hard for 2 reasons. 1, I never talked about this with anyone before. 2, this thing that happened was the worst event of my life, so it's a bit complicated. All of this was very quick and I still have no idea what happened. Anyway, my name's Matthew. I'm 16 years old and I live in Italy. My house is in a little village in the mountains near the Mont Blanc, the biggest mountains in Europe. Useless to say that there wasn't much activity around here during the day, and it's very calm and a cool place at the end. The event took place in last April. I just got out of school after a 2-hour-long Latin test, and I was basically already sleeping at this point. I unlocked my bike, waved at my friends, and left taking the main road that led to the village I lived in. As always, there were no cars, no people, nothing. I was tired, and while riding, I was thinking about the usual things a 15-year-old thinks when coming back from school. I was probably overthinking and kept going the long road without realizing I didn't take the right turn. I noticed my mistake a few minutes later and thought, never mind, I'll just take the long way, because at the end of the road, you could take a path that led to the village. I didn't know that yet, but that was probably the worst mistake I've made in my entire life. I kept going, and at that point the road was going a little forest. All the trees above me were stopping the already small amount of sunlight that there was, so it was basically night. I turned on the bike's flashlight and moved on the right side of the road. Everything was quiet until I heard a car sound coming towards me. I was a bit surprised because, as I always said, there's basically no car activity in the area, and specifically at that time of the day. I didn't panic. After all, it was just a car passing by. After a while, I saw the headlights approaching from the road. The car was still far away and going at a slow pace, like if the driver was looking for something. Then the car speeded up and, at my surprise, turned right to get in front of me. Confused and not wanting to get hit by the vehicle, I turned left to bring the bike to the other side of the road. The car did the same and speeded up even more. I had very little time to realize what was happening, because the car was at full speed towards me and I was about to get hit. So I did the first thing that came to my mind and jumped off my bike and on the right side of the road. I did that just in time because a car ran over the empty bike just a few seconds after I jumped. I sat on the asphalt, my knees and elbows burning from the fall, trying to realize what just happened, when I saw the driver of the car getting off the vehicle that was now still on the side of the road, running towards me without saying a word. I got up as fast as I can, but the guy managed to grab my left arm. I screamed, turned around and landed a strong punch I could possibly take on the man's nose. The guy didn't flinch, let go of my arm, touched his now bleeding nose, and smiled at me. before running back into the car, starting the engine, and leaving. I was in complete shock. I grabbed what was left of my bike and ran home as fast as I could. I was so scared that I left my backpack in the middle of the road and went to get it the next day. That's it. I never knew who this guy was and why he tried to run me over with his car. This is the biggest and only traumatizing experience I've ever had in my life. I can tell you, I will never take that road again.